I'm Katrina, and this is Tare. Have you ever wanted to put up an arch trellis like this one? Nice and big and sturdy, but you haven't because you're the only one who's gardening? Today I'm going to show you how to install an arch trellis made of cattle panel by yourself. So this is a skill that I thought I'd bring to the table and have a discussion about, because there are lots of people who garden by themselves who don't have help. And if you can get a cattle panel to your property, you can put it up all by yourself, and I'm going to show you how. So first things first, know where your water lines are for your irrigation, know where your electricity lines are, your water lines for your house, all that stuff. Just because we're going to be pounding in some T-posts. If you don't have T-posts available, you can use a wooden stake, and that will work just fine. If you want it to be a very secure little tunnel archway, you can put 2 T-posts on either side. Honestly, I've done 1 on either side, and that works great. So I think as long as you don't have a humongous amount of weight on it, 1 T-post on either side or 1 stake on either side is just fine. That's what I'm going to do today. So I know where my water lines are approximately for my irrigation, but not all the way. So I'm going to be searching for that first, and then we'll get into the video. Alright, first things first, you're going to want safety glasses and a mallet, a sledgehammer. I like to use a small one because when you're up on a ladder, using a big one is a little bit ridiculous. I have done it, it does work. This is better. And you need and if you're going to use a T-post, this is what they look like. They have little knobs on one side and a protrusion on the other side. It's in the shape of a T. So in the shape of a T, that's why it's called T-post. So once you have located your water lines, make sure that you're not going to put this in it, because this on the end here, this can actually cut your water line for your irrigation. And always use safety glasses, because the paint chips and sometimes a little bit of metal can come off the top of this, so you want to be very careful with your eyes because you only have 2. Alright, when you're setting up for arch trellis, we're going to want the bumps on the inside of the trellis. So the trellis is the cattle panel is going to be on this side, so we want it on this side. So when you're pounding it in, make sure that this is the knobby side is to the interior of your arch. Alright, let's get started. Now, because I'm only using 2 of these this time, and I can come back and add more if I wanted, but it doesn't make sense to right now. Because I'm only using 2, I'm putting this somewhat in the middle. And these cattle panels are about 4 feet wide. And I know that I'm going to block off part of this entryway, but not all of it. So it'll still have a clear path to come out, but it will hopefully provide shade in the summer to the side of the house. So there we go. I might not need the ladder. I guess I don't need the ladder for this. Probably better on it. So that first little bit, well, I'm in the ground now, but it was through wood chips. Now onto the other side. Let's see if this is in the right spot. So I'm checking with the other one to see if it's approximately lined up as far as facing this edge facing the other bumpy edge, which I know it has a different name, but that's what we're calling it today. So I think that's about right. Okay, now that we have those in the ground, it's time to put away the ladder. And let's get this done. All right, so to do this, all we need is something heavy or something like this to bend the cattle panel up to. So if you have a bucket full of water, that'll work. A bucket full of feed, that'll work. I'm going to try it with this. I've not tried it with this before, but I think this is probably an easy tool for someone to get around in their yard. So it literally is just something to push it up against. So we're going to go with that. All right, so we have our fork in the ground over here, and we're literally just going to push it up, and I have 2 cameras going, so we back this one up so you guys can hopefully see. So hopefully you'll be able to see what's happening on both cameras, and we'll get this up and I'll show you from a couple different angles. First up is I'm going to keep this end down and kind of squish it towards the other end. And then we're going to be popping up the middle, basically. So hopefully I explain it well, and then hopefully it actually happens on the cameras. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna flip this over. We have this kind of current in the truck, so I think it already has somewhat of a bend established. So don't make things harder for yourself. Go with what has already been established. Alright. So pulling it up. Again, I have my foot on the bottom, and I'm going to walk this towards it. I don't know if this is going to pick it up, but hopefully you guys can see it's actually catching on the downspout tube. It will probably pop out a little bit as I get closer. In fact, I kind of want it to, so I don't surprise myself. There we go. There we go. So I just walked over to the fork there, and I'm just going to continue to walk it in. Okay, when it gets to this point, what I like to do is get myself inside so I can grab both sides. Now, you might have a different technique. If you do, please share it in the comments below. But this has pretty much worked for me for doing all of these trellises when I've done them myself. And once you get it in that position where you can carry it as an arch, it's really easy to position. So, I'll go one more little bit, and be very careful because this this wants to be more straight, so it'll come back a little bit. So what I do is just kind of bend it down so that it's more like this at the bottom, and position myself around and hold on to both. Okay, so now I'm in this position. I can move this wherever I want. Okay, so in here, I want it over here, I want it over there. Now I can't like reach the span of this, so I'm just going to let go of one and then walk this one over. And there you go. I can move this wherever I want. Okay? So, here, I want it over here, I want it over there. Now I can't like reach the span of this, so I'm just going to let go of one and then walk this one over. Alright, so this is actually a little shorter than I wanted. So what I really wanted is I wanted it to be, again, use your foot to kind of move it around. I wanted it to be more that width. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this side in closer, because this works really well closer to the house, I think. Yeah, because there's plenty of room for people to get through on either side there, if need be. So, that's what I'm going to do. Probably should have measured one of my existing ones. But because I already have stuff over here that it's leaning up against, I don't have to be worried about taking this out. This also gives me a chance to fix the angle a little bit. Safety glasses on. A little less pounding room because I'm inside here. I think I'm going to put this around and then finish pounding this because it's kind of in the way right here. So how I do that is, again, grab the sides. We can walk this way since that's up against something. Again, using the foot to kind of guide it. And just pop it around. And there we go. I'm going to put this back. Now I can finish pounding this to kind of guide it. And just pop it around. Alright, so there's your arch trellis. Honestly, if you wanted to keep it like this, you could. I don't recommend it. At this point, you can use zip ties if you want to make it somewhat temporary. The zip ties will last you a couple of years, probably 2 or 3 years, depending on your climate. Or you can use the T-post connectors, which is a wire that does that. I'm gonna do the T-post connectors because I have them, if I can find them, and then we'll be ready. So something else to consider is if you wanted this taller, so let's say this is not tall enough for you, or you know you're going to grow stuff that's going to get bigger, then you can actually take these, lift it up, right, and connect them further up. So like those trellises over there, they're lifted up a couple, 2.5 feet. You can do that here as well if you wanted to. I think I might do that. Let me find the T-post connectors and we will be back. Alright, so here are the T-post clips. This is what they look like. And there's a couple different ways to install these. This part, the V always goes on the back side of the T-post, and these wrap around the wire, or this, as the case may be. Usually you do barbed wire, stuff like that. But you can either use, so there's a special tool that they make for these specifically, and they work really well, but I wouldn't get one unless you're doing a lot of fencing. Another one is needle nose pliers. I don't know where my good pair are, so we're going with the one with slippery handles. And the other one is a screwdriver. So I actually kind of like the screwdriver one. I'll show you both ways though. We're gonna have this about 1 foot off the ground. I'll show you guys this way first. So you're gonna wanna line this up. You can use your foot to help you. But I always like to do the connection that is easy first. That's like it's gonna connect pretty well. We'll just do this one right here. So basically what you're going to want to do is hook this on the wire or whatever you're putting it on. Move it over to the T-post. So basically if you hook this over, bring this around, and you can see there's a loop here. I put the screwdriver in this direction, okay? And then all I do is move the screwdriver towards myself, and that will bring this other piece around, okay? That's what I like to do. And then I use these to clean it up, right? So tighten this. Now would this, is he sturdier with more than one? Yes. Will I probably add another one when I have more? Yes, I have 2 more, and I am going to be doing another trellis. So right now I'm just cheating to one side a little bit. If I was doing this whole like trellis by itself, I would only do in the middle. But 2 is always best. And just a couple of these holds it. There's no need to go crazy and do it on every single level. Yeah, we'll go over to the other side. Ooh. It is easier to do this part with 2 people, but this is a video about doing it all by yourself. So, I'm just lifting it up. So this is the height here. So the thing that happens sometimes is that these don't line up in between the little knobs here, And when that happens, it does get hard to connect them. That's why I connected this one down here first, because it was lined up. Because they don't think you're going to use it in this direction. Like for this one, because we have this extra space here, it's always good to have pliers of some sort to help this along. So now that we have this wonderful trellis, we can grow so many more things. I did not add any garden beds. I didn't add anything except for this trellis. We're going to be planting additional plants in with this grape over here in this container and out of this bed over here. And we are going to have this year melons and possibly delicata squash on this trellis. So if I can do it, you can do it. And sometimes it's a little bit more of a struggle to do things by yourself, but you can do them. You can still do them, and it's amazing what you can do by yourself when you know a little bit of technique, or when you say, oh, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. Find out what works for you, and it's a wonderful thing. Vertical gardening is where it's at, especially in small spaces. I garden on my lot, which includes my house and my garage and porch and all that, is 7,000 square foot city lot. So the more you can maximize space for growing, especially things for like melons and squashes that are sprawling, if you can have them go over and up and over things, then that's all the better. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, hit the like. Please share it around, and share it with someone who thinks they don't have enough space to garden, and say, yes, you do. You have enough space to garden. And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the day.